It's not by knowing the obvious things, like a giant ship heading towards me, I'm in danger, because that's obviously obvious. But the little things, the things that you don't see but you only experience, are what fine-tune your adventure. For example, skeletons looking the other way at your skull fort means someone is hiding there, waiting to steal your treasure. Due to their AI and pathfinding, they usually go to the nearest player, but you don't know that since you have yet to understand their behavior. I will feature many tricks here, but always know that what you can learn in Sea of Thieves is endless. So if you have more to add by the end of the video, and I'm sure you will, please leave it in the comments below. Phuzzy here, sit back, relax, and enjoy. It doesn't matter what games you have played before, you might be good in other worlds like Overwatch and Rust. In addition, some of these skills could translate into other games. For example, you'll be able to pick up Apex Legends fast if you come from the FPS genre, or you might have an easier time understanding DayZ or Scum if you play Rust. But there's nothing like Sea of Thieves, as the sea's natural flow and the learning curve are unlike any other game. So how can you get that skill or gamer abilities to thrive in this world, so you can become a better pirate? The primary key is translating, adapting, and understanding this world. What am I looking at? What things can get me wrecked in plain sight because I simply did not know how they work? With that, you can bring your strategies, thought process, and decision making acquired during your man cave era into Sea of Thieves. And this is where a finely tuned adventure turns into a perfect melody. Some things were mentioned in older videos, but as the seas constantly change, some behavior also change. Let's start with a simple PvE, then work toward the real boss, PvP, naval, and other players. Using mobs to guard mobs. You probably have a lot of voyages, and these voyages come with skeletons that like to shoot. In a situation where multiple spawn and it looks like an execution squad, make sure not to kill the one with the sword, as he can be your shield while others shoot him from behind. So get rid of the far ones, then thank him with your cutlass. Harpoon turns. At earlier stages, it could feel overwhelming, especially if you are alone. You got a hole, went to fix it, came back up, islands heading towards you, breathing intensifies. You start turning fast, power steering is not present, and you crash, causing you to go back to repair again. And as soon as you are done, the ship creates a few more holes for your convenience. So you fix the holes, and once you are done and take a sip of your coffee, you aren't even heading to the same destination anymore. Cancel all that. The only power steering you need on a ship is the harpoon. Around shorelines, shipwrecks, and any shallow waters, you can always use that to do sharp turns. Again, there's an in-depth video on harpoon uses in the description. Fire training. Back in the day, skeletons had different requirements to kill. Vegetables needed to be kept out of the water or else they could heal. Golden ones must be held in water so they can rust, slow down, and die. Even though these are valid, we didn't have fire back then. Now, fire destroys both, making this simple knowledge that I'm sure some of you did not know become ancient knowledge. In addition to shadow skeletons that require a lantern to light, they can now easily be exposed using a flare. You light that above the island or a fort and have a barbecue. Now with this in mind, you can efficiently solo skull forts alone. Run in circles in the top room, the main fort quarters, and once all skeletons are gathered, throw one firebomb that will travel between them back and forth until they are all dead. Using guns and swords to end these waves is so 2019. But remember, if you are more than one on the fort, the other person shouldn't be right with you so skeletons won't scatter, or they can stay on the ship for a lookout from other players. The fewer people on the fort, the better. Now before we move into our PvP and naval section, today's sponsor. Allow me to interrupt this video with today's sponsor. As you all know, during my streams I talk about content creator tips and strategies whenever you ask. And here's another one on how I improve that will help you out. In Skillshare, I found many things that greatly improve the quality of my streams on Twitch. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes and members across 150 countries. My biggest struggle was lighting, making the camera as cozy and pleasant as possible for your eyes. Even though I know how to perform and stream my videos, I still needed to gain knowledge about lighting. So I went to Skillshare. For example, this course, The Introduction to Lighting for Videography by Jordi Vandeput. The lighting course I took constantly improved my camera. These are older streams, and this is now. By understanding the way lights work, different types and colors, I was able to improve everything I have. With $10 per month, you get unlimited lessons on any subject you want, whether it's cooking, crafting, content creator tips, and more. But you know what's even cheaper than $10? 1 month free trial on Skillshare of unlimited lessons and courses. So make this year the year you perfect a new creative, business, or hobby. As for me, I love cooking on my days off. I can easily explore a vast list of different cooking styles. Try out a risk-free 30-day trial to test it out yourself. The first 1,000 people to use the link in the description will get a 1 month free trial of Skillshare. Understand enemy weapon loadouts. Since we are limited to 2 weapons, there are only 2 types, cutlass and a gun, or 2 guns of any type. For the cutlass gun loadout, ensure you understand how the cutlass works, so you can also react to it if the enemy has it. We have the sword lunge, the sword hop, and the sword block. The lunge is when you block and hold down an attack, followed by a jump. It launches you far, slicing through multiple enemies, or one enemy. The hop is when you block with a sword and jump. And the normal block is just basically when you block. When fighting another pirate, you can hop through them while holding down the block to slice them from behind, avoiding when they block. As for a double gunner, knowing their weak points. It could be very devastating against an efficient double gunner. However, make sure to count their shots. Each gun carries 5 bullets. Use objects to block the bullets and approach when they are in reload time. It's not as simple as that, but as I always say, hug the double gunner. Their weak point is on social distancing with your sword, which is why a good double gunner usually keeps their back clear for an escape plan if you are close. Remember, practice makes perfect. Even if you lose an earlier PvP, which you probably will, use that to your advantage and gain as much knowledge as possible to know what different decisions you could have made. Remember, at one point, that insane PvPer you are fighting started just like you did. In a careful approach to alliances, my general rule is not to alliance with more than one ship. If a backstab is happening, you know where it's coming from. In addition, make rules for your alliance. For example, more gold actually means no gold if you are betrayed. Of course, if you want to cross, then it's another story. The crew and I only ally if we recognize the other team from a previous adventure, or if they are a newer crew that we can protect against other rivals. Otherwise, it's not happening. Know how to pick your fight. Take as many battles as possible to learn from your mistakes and improve. However, you should separate your sessions into different ones so you can rise to become a fearsome pirate. With that in mind, what's the point of taking a battle if you're out of focus? For example, got some really hard-earned loot on board or ran out of time. Even though the other crew has the right to steal it, you also have the right to protect it. With that, taking as many battles as possible needs to be optimized. Do that when you are focused and dedicate PvP sessions to that. I have linked a critical video that teaches you the most powerful way to improve your PvP without worrying. Know what to shoot and when to hit. Sometimes during a battle, you are caught off guard and ready to receive massive cannonballs. That would make you remember the day you were born. Unfortunately, you can also get a headshot with a cannonball and die immediately, causing all this to fail. But let's assume that doesn't happen. Therefore, you must pick your cannon ammunition carefully whenever it's too late. The most important thing is to get the enemy off their cannons and keep them busy, which can be done in different ways. The simple one will be to kill them with cannonballs. However, sometimes it just doesn't work due to your aim, their positioning, or even server issues. So you start giving them other things to do that will force them to move away, like blunderbombs in the top deck, cannonballs in the bottom, then blunderbombs again to the top, followed by chain shots to their mast. It doesn't matter how large that crew is. Give them other things to prioritize on their queue list than actually fighting you. Their ship will probably go out of range since everyone's busy keeping it afloat. This is very situational, depending on what you have and where you can top it off all with cursed cannonballs. But we sometimes don't have these on board. Don't rely on them in your strategies unless you have them. There is a much more efficient way to reach a complete stop without dropping anchor. With later changes to the seas, when you raise sails, the ship takes way too long to a complete stop, so by the time you finish your adventure, you will realize your ship is in another game. And as we know, you should never park with your anchor down. But recently, whenever approaching an island, we drop anchor, raise sails, then raise anchor to cut it short. However, harpoons, they require 2 players. Once raising sails and getting close to the island, both harpoon in a reverse position into the ground and reel simultaneously. This will act like a pullback that immediately reaches the ship to a complete stop without anchoring. There is much more to the seas. Please subscribe if you found this helpful, and leave a comment below with your tricks so we can make everyone great at sailing for the most wholesome battles. Thank you for watching.